All right, if everybody could grab a seat. There are no seating assignments. We just encourage you to hang out maybe one last time before spring break with your winter team. Students, if you want, this is on our YouTube channel right now, so if you haven't told your parents and you want to let your parents know, drop them a text. They can find it on the YouTube channel. It is live right now. Okay, I have 131, so we're going to get ready to roll here. I know this is always the most interesting awards assembly to do because everybody's just geared up enough about spring break that it's kind of hard to put some closure on the winter without you guys being halfway out the door to your vacation. So thanks everybody for getting over here from lunch. It was an awesome lunch. It was great to see such a big crowd, and it's great to see everybody here. As we get ready to start our winter awards assembly, just a couple housekeeping notes, because this is always the fun stuff that I get to do. Locker rooms need to be emptied by 5:30 tonight. Anything left will be put in the lost and found, and you may or may not be able to find that in the lost and found when you come back from spring break. So please make sure that all of your lockers are out. Hockey gear bags need to go back up to the dorms before 5:30 today for your travel home. If you need to store it longer and you're not going home, please come see me. I will be in the Alfond until 5:30. So let's make sure we do that. Any uniforms, you've gotten some emails from Mr. Corey. Let's just make sure we get those taken care of so that we're not sending out any bills. So, so far it's been great. You guys have been really awesome about cleaning locker rooms and getting things back to us. If you are an award recipient today, you and your coach will head off the stage and out into the lobby, and Mrs. Heron will be taking pictures. So you guys, in 30 years, alums can come back and see who the MVP was for boys ice hockey and girls ice hockey, and who got the coach's award for JV boys ice hockey. So now the fun stuff. Before we get started, I want to open with what I think are probably the most important things to be done today is to thank the people who made this winter work. I know my team's in the front row, and I think about what goes on at the ski hill from the beginning of November straight on, and I know we still have a week ahead of us to close that up at least, and what goes on in the Alfond with the ice rink and the laundry and the taping and the ice and the bags of ice and all of the things that happen in our building. And I think sometimes it's not as noticeable to a lot of folks, and even to you guys as student athletes, just how hard the adults around our athletic programs work. Your coaches put in countless hours that you don't see. Just because they're not on the ice or have skates on their feet or behind the wheel of a bus doesn't mean they've stopped working for you. And I think we have been really fortunate here at Kent Hill of having really amazing coaches and a phenomenal athletic department staff. And I want to take a few minutes just to make sure that we let every one of those folks know how much we appreciate them. If I could have all of the coaches and all of the athletic department staff, please stand up. You don't have to just be a winter sport coach to stand up. I think when we were just shooting the breeze the other day, we figured out we average no less than 5 loads of laundry a day from November 10th straight on through until we sent the dryer to, hopefully it's not an untimely death, but the dryer's done. So that's kind of fun. I know that there were countless sheets of ice made over the course of the winter. How many feet of snow were made on the ski hill for the length of the ski hill and the breadth of the ski hill? 400 hours of snow. Wow, that's 10 work weeks. If you work a 40-hour week, I'm good with the math for a communications major, that's a lot. And I just really want to make sure that my guys in the athletic department and all of our coaches really know just how much we really appreciate them. And I haven't even mentioned how many schedule changes everybody in this room endured this year. The health center, can we get some rapid tests? How'd that pool go? Who's in that pool? How do I get a hold of this guy? It was nuts. There's no other word to describe it. What all of us endured this year was so different than last year and so very hard and challenging, and we did it. We did it. We adjusted the schedules. We figured out the buses. We figured out the meals. And Sherry's like, box lunches? Who's getting lunches? Where are we going? Who's going where? What am I going to do with this? And the health center constantly, I mean, I lived it. A phone call comes at halftime. Hey, you got a rapid test. What? And it was wild, but we did it. And I think that needs to be acknowledged as much as any of our awards today, because you guys overcame adversity that none of us of adults have ever experienced, and we certainly didn't experience it as teenagers. So thank you. So on to the start of our awards. I'd like to ask Coach McDonald to come up. We're going to tip off with the JV boys basketball team.
I keep these things pretty short and sweet. I had a great time this year with the JV team. We actually had a lot of our early games rescheduled to just at the end of the season, so it seemed like the end of the season we had a ton of games going. In the early part of the season, we were just kind of practicing and practicing and practicing. Had a game, and that was it for like 2 months. But when we got back together, I like to hope the boys had a great time, because I had a good time with them. And I'm going to make a few thank yous just on behalf of myself and the boys team. First of all, she's not here today, but I'd like to thank Coach Sage. She was here when I couldn't be. She was at every practice. She did an awesome job, and the season wouldn't have been possible without Mackenzie Sage. I'd like to thank the ADs and the Alphon staff for keeping that going. Dave and all the crew that works on the buses. And I'd like to thank my players for coming out every day, playing basketball. I had a really great time with you guys. And we had a pretty successful season. Came out with that championship. We ended up going 8-2. I don't have a lot of familiarity with the league, but we played some teams. I do have familiarity with a team called Hyde. Played them a lot in my life, and I've now coached against them several times. They were a fun matchup for us. We played them 4 different times, and we ended up playing them last time over at the gym for the championship, and they were a handful. But these guys were up to the task. Now I'm going to give out 2 awards, and I want to discuss these a little bit. I've got a Most Improved Player Award, a Coach's Award, and I'd like to just discuss our team philosophy kind of on MVPs for a second. We played this season very much as a team game. I had everybody there to play basketball. Everybody was supposed to take their shots. They were supposed to move to the places they were supposed to go in the offense. And if you didn't, that kind of threw a wrench in the works. You had to play defense hard every time. And we moved through players. Everybody got time. Everybody got into, not every game, but everybody got into games and got some good time in games. And when you talk about MVPs, I don't think I could pick one for this team. Every player had some point in a game where I said, you know what, that might be the turning point that wins this game right here. They all had something like that. I could give some huge props to Artem, Trevor, Moses, Jonah, every one of those guys. Walker had games where they took over a portion of the game and probably caused a W in the end. When we talk about most improved players, all of the guys improved a ton throughout the season. I did do voting with the players so that I could get their feedback. I had a list of people that I thought could take the awards. And when I was thinking most improved, I was thinking Harry, Geronimo, Artem, and the man that was on my list and on the students list was Jonathan Platten. Come on. Wait around, we'll have pitches. The Coaches Award is a little bit different criteria than most improved. In my mind, the person that gets the Coaches Award shows up to all the practices, does what's asked, and leads other players through that stuff without complaint, even being chipper most of the time, and trying to do, you know, when you coach, you know that every athlete can't do everything you ask them to do, but they try to go out and do what you ask them every time. And when I considered this, again, considered Harry, Hassan, Shrey, and Walker, but on my list and on the players list was Will Precourt. And I guess Will couldn't be here today. Anyway, thanks everybody for coming out to our games. I enjoyed having you guys there. The crowd makes it just as much as the players. On to snowboarding.
Danny McGlashan, everybody. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Howdy. Thank you for coming, everyone. All right, so I go into a lot of things, but I'll make it pretty short and sweet, I hope. Super big shout out to Josh and Stu this year. Josh, Coach Reynolds, and Stu, the other guy that makes snow. They help build the park. They push the snow and they make it move around. They give us our jumps and our features. So without that, we would just be a snowboard team and not much of a freestyle team or free ski team. As we move on, I get to give out the Coaches Award and Most Improved. Just like the JV basketball team, a lot of people showed up every day, whether it was cold, whether it was windy. We had some times that the rope was blowing off the rope toe, it was so windy, and they were still out there hitting jumps, hitting rails, having a great time. And that makes my job a lot easier, and it makes them really happy, and it was a great winter. We had our ebbs and flows, but it was an awesome season out in the snow, and we had a lot of smiles and a ton of improvement, people getting better at just their regular snowboarding and skiing, and getting better at their freestyle. On to the awards. So, the most improved goes out to someone who came out at the beginning of the season, was on skis, and was like, you know what, I think I want to try that snowboard thing. Is there any possibility that we can make that happen? And they went out and they tried it, and they failed, and they tried it, and they failed, and they tried it, and they failed for probably 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And then they could stand up on their snowboard and move back and forth, and they were like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I was like, you can stand. Great job. Well, they kept coming back, and they kept coming back, and they moved from the bunny hill to the big hill, and they moved from just going up the big hill and down the big hill to going over some jumps, not getting in much air or anything, but they hit something. And it's going to go to Ava Katz. All right, second one is the Coaches Award. This one's pretty fun. This person came out to practice at the beginning of the season, didn't really know what they wanted to learn on skis. I think some people mentioned backflips and whatnot, and that's really not possible what we have here. But I appreciate the enthusiasm. They came out, They came out to practices. They said, is the hill going to get bigger? I said, yes, you got to wait. We need more snow. As I said, are the jumps going to get bigger? I said, yes, we're going to make more snow. They said, we're going to put more rails in. I said, yes, we're going to put more rails in. And this was every day. And guess what? They improved every single day, because whenever I put a new jump in, they'd hit the jump. Whenever I put a new rail in, they'd hit the rail. It was every single time they could change what they were doing to improve, they did it. And that just makes my job incredible and super fulfilling. And this one goes out to Max Salad Crew. All right, so I think we go and, all right.
If you ever wanted to see the happiest group of kids on campus, hopefully you got over to the ski lodge this winter, because the Alfond was really fun, but those guys at the ski lodge, the snowboarders, the freestylers, the alpiners, they were the happiest group. It was so fun the few times I was able to get over there just to see all the smiles. So it was really wonderful what Coach Reynolds and Coach McGlashing and Coach Carlucci had going on over there. Now I'm going to ask Smitty to come up to present our Boys Varsity Basketball Awards.
Thank you. So it was an interesting basketball season this year. Getting back in the gym and getting used to playing games again after a year without COVID was definitely tough for some of the guys. We went into Christmas break with a great record, and then when we came back, we really played the meat of our season, and it was a test for a lot of the guys on the team, but it was definitely a way for them to dig deep and find perseverance and always find a way to finish every game as hard as they started it. And Coach Hannon and I are really proud of the way that they finished out the season strong, and they fought all the way to the end. We made it to the playoffs, which was great because of DJ's last-second half-court shot against New Hampton, which kind of sealed us making it to the playoffs. We fell to Hyde, who's a phenomenal basketball team, but I really appreciate all of you guys and the efforts that you put in all year long, so thank you very much. First award that we're going to give out is the MIP Award. And this goes to a guy who started out as the 7th or 8th man on the team, wasn't even sure he wanted to play basketball. I talked him into going to tryouts, and then continuously coming to practice every day, putting in a lot of work, showing tons and tons of improvement, cracked into the top 5, and started almost every game for the rest of the season. So the MIP Award this year goes to Micho Petitas. The second award we're going to give out is the MVP Award. This guy came in last year, unfortunately didn't really get to play any basketball, coming in as a junior because of COVID, but really stood out and worked really, really hard to try to prove himself to his teammates and to the school and really validate that he is a very strong and talented basketball player. Super proud of the efforts that DJ puts in every single day in the gym, and I hope he continues to grow as he goes to play on at the college level. So this year's MVP is DJ Nyon.
Just want to put my 2 cents in on the season. Yeah, it was. There were some rough times in there. We know the team will say it right up. We played some really tough competition at times, and there was a number of games in there where that happened. And one particular one, we drove over 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get down to Brooks. Very solid squad we're going up against. The guys knew we were going up against a formidable opponent. This team never let down. I just wanted to say something about their effort. Every single game, you don't see a letdown in this team. So I was really proud of that with them. And after this game where we did lose by a sizable amount, we didn't give up. We got back in the locker room, and it kind of summed things up with their attitude, because they said, you know, this is the first time we really felt like we lost as a team. So to lose that badly and to put out the effort that they did, and then to just have them come out and say that they actually enjoyed that game and lost as a team was a hats off to them. So I just wanted to put the 2 cents on that. Thank you.
Before I give out the last award, I really want to, I owe a lot of thanks to our team managers, Corey and Nicole. Corey did a phenomenal job this year, remembering the book for me when I would always forget it, although he forgot it once too. And he learned to do the book. He did a phenomenal job. I'm pretty sure I got a couple extra timeouts over the course of the season, so thank you very much for that as well. And Nicole for learning to run the clock. It was really helpful in practice every day. But our final award is the Coaches Award, and this award goes to an amazing young man who I have a deep appreciation for. He really wears his heart on his sleeve. He gives more effort than I've ever seen, and he constantly gives of himself and tries to uplift his teammates even when, you know, sometimes the outcome doesn't go the way that we want. I'm really going to miss having him around next year, and I really wish him luck in the future. This year's Coaches Award goes to Aaron Jones.
I'm going to ask Smitty to stay to present our male Sportsmanship Award for the winter season.
All right. Basketball is a demanding sport both physically and mentally. Working with everyone on your team, putting in the work in practice, and doing a lot of independent work separates those who want from those who will. The recipient of the Male Sportsmanship Award this year has done the work. He spends countless hours in the gym, constantly works on his game, and has shown so much growth and passion over the past 4 years he's been at Kents Hill. But the honor of this award far exceeds accomplishments on the basketball court. This young man is a scholar, a proctor, an advocate, an activist, and most importantly, an all-around, well-rounded student athlete. Coming in as a freshman, Aaron Jones was quiet and reserved. He worked hard in the classroom and for 2 years was a JV basketball player. Ultimately, his desire was to work hard and achieve more, landing him on the varsity team his junior year because he was an individual willing to do the work on his own game while also helping others to achieve more alongside him. Over summers, Aaron worked on his game. On weeknights and weekends, you could and still can find Aaron in the gym continuing to work on himself. But these are all attributes of a committed athlete. What sets Aaron apart is his commitment to the team above all else. This was a tough season for the men's basketball team. We started out with a great record going into winter break, and upon our return, found ourselves in the heaviest depths of a tough schedule. When I say that Aaron came to practice on the daily with a mindset of keeping his teammates united, I see what it truly means to embody sportsmanship. Nothing speaks more to his commitment to his teammates than our first game against Hyde. While this season was filled with difficulties finishing around the hoop and getting shots to fall in our favor, Aaron kept his teammates' spirits up constantly. At halftime, he spoke of pride and how regardless of the score in the book, we could continue to grow as a team. Our boys came out in the second half, roused by the words of Aaron, and beat Hyde in scoring in the second half. After the game, still a loss by a significant margin, Aaron proceeded to commend each and every member of his team on their game accomplishments, first points scored, hard work, and commitment not only to the team, but their importance on the future of the program once he graduates. As a coach, I beamed with pride and was left speechless. On the court, Aaron's an intense competitor and absolute workhorse. He'll push himself physically until the final whistle blows and give everything he has for his teammates. His interactions with opponents are always humble, never hanging his head, arguing with referees or teammates, even when he gets called for fouls that didn't really happen, and takes any victory or loss in stride, knowing full well he gave his all. I can think of no young man more deserving of this award than Aaron Jones, this winner's recipient of the Male Sportsmanship Award.
That was awesome. Congratulations, Aaron. Before we move on with our team awards, I'd like to take a couple minutes to recognize some very important people to the athletic department. This year, we brought it back after a little bit of a hiatus due to COVID. We brought back the Alphond crew, and it was this magnificent team of 2. And if I could have Jenna and Noelle stand up, you don't have to stand up very long, but if you guys could please stand up. I know you're here somewhere, together, of course. I just want to make sure that I take a few minutes this afternoon, to thank Jenna and Noelle. They were so patient with myself and many of my quirks with running around, with changing things, being at games myself or at practice. Jenna and Noelle ran the scoreboard for every basketball game. They did the score sheet and or the scoreboard for every ice hockey game, and came into the winter season with no background in either of those two things. And they would sit there and they would listen to me, and we'd have these make-believe pep talks at halftime, like, we got this. I remember very vividly, it was a boys' ice hockey game, and the pace of a boys' hockey game, as we all know, is super fast, and we were trying to figure out how to clear the penalties. And I think they would get like one step away from figuring out the scoreboard, and then like a meathead, I'd throw my hands in there and hit a couple buttons, and they would be ready to blow up. And eventually we figured it out, and Jenna was so kind as to write up all of the instructions so we can laminate them for future Alphond crew members and for next year. But without these 2 young women, I know Mr. Heron, Mr. Corey, and myself would have had a much more challenging time running the Alphond on game days. We didn't throw them into the fire of running a shot clock. I even tried to run out of that fire myself a few times. But I want to make sure that you guys as student athletes who played basketball or ice hockey in the Alphond are aware that without these 2 young women, your games would have gone off with a lot of glitches and a lot of hiccups and a lot of grumpier referees. So Jenna and Noelle, I want to see you guys after the awards ceremony, but thank you so much for everything that you did to help keep us sane. There's another group of cats that hung out in the Alphond a lot this winter that I would like to make sure we all take some time to thank, because I think every one of us at one point or another this winter really enjoyed what they brought to Kents Hill Athletics. And I would like anyone who is a member of Howl to please stand up. I know we have Zach and Norris. We got Moses, Shrey, Trevor, Evan, Harry, Noelle, and Jenna. It wasn't always super organized, but they were amazing. They'd come running in from JV ice hockey practice or wherever they might have been and be like, Ambrose, I need the rosters. I'm like, well, go ask the coaches. And they'd quickly put the rosters together, and they'd be doing game introductions, or they would be over at the table during a hockey game. And I can tell you this, in all of my years of being an athletic administrator, even at the collegiate level, I never received so many complimentary emails from parents of opposing teams as I received this year regarding the performance of our HAL group. I can only speak from the girls' basketball side of it, but I don't know that there was a gym that we went to or a team that came into the Alphond that didn't make a comment about how fun our broadcasting crew was. And it was really kind of cool. You guys were like superstars out there, and you didn't even know it. All these other schools were trying to scout us, and they were busy laughing at some of the wonderful remarks and some of the colorful commentary that you gave to our games. And you made our hockey games more exciting, and you made our basketball games more exciting. And we all thank you for that, because it brought something to Kents Hill Athletics that was never there, at least not in my time. And I want to thank Mr. Bartholomew and Martin very much for making that happen. There was a lot of work to put cameras in, to make sure cameras were working. Mr. Bartholomew magically produces hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of yards of wire, like every 2 weeks, to rewire something. And I know there have been a few awards assemblies in the past where I have missed thanking him, and he's fine with that, but I'm not. And I think to Mark's credit, he's got a great group of kids together, and I can't wait to see where Hal goes as we move through our spring season and into next year. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the whole athletic department. Now if I could have Coach Pavel come on up with Coach May for boys varsity ice hockey.
All right, thank you, Nan. I think I speak for the entire team, and I would like to kind of piggyback on that and thank everybody who made our season possible. I mean, we kind of realized what it takes to make the season happen, and first, thank you, Nan, for putting up with us. I know it's not always easy, but these are good guys, and they try their hardest. And Jake Heron, you know, the usual nicks and bruises of the hockey team that happens, but outside of that, you know, dealing with COVID and what the protocols are, what the other teams are doing, are we masked, are we unmasked, dealing with that. Again, we just realized as a group, you know, what it takes to really, you know, make our season possible. Tim Corey with the scheduling, rescheduling, practices, games, referees. Again, you know, it's not just rescheduling a game, it's making sure the refs are notified, make sure we have the scorekeepers, right? Make sure we have everything that we're supposed to have. So, you know, thank you and the health center staff, Dr. Joe, Lindsay, Margaret. Again, you know, we had the season going pretty well in the fall. We got on a good roll. We went to the St. Mark's Middlesex tournament, played some really, really good hockey, and then from December 18 through January 26, in the meat of the season, we played one game with half the team. You know, so we got hit pretty hard, and you know, the COVID restrictions and the doctor's notes and return to play protocols, and then we ran into teams that haven't missed a beat, and it was a testament to our team. You know, it's a great group of guys. I'm so fortunate. I had the opportunity to coach them. They battled. They learned what it takes to play at this level, what it takes to be successful at this level. They learn every game, every shift. We're fortunate that we have most of them coming back, but they also learned, you know, what it takes from everybody here to put that season together. And, you know, I told them, I want to be them. I told them that about 100 times, that, you know, like, I just want to go to school and play hockey, you know. It's a pretty easy job they have, but to do it at a high level, and this group excelled in the classroom, this group excels in the community, this group does so much, whether with Sage or everybody else. I'm just super proud of them. And you know, at the end of the season, we play like 3-4 games a week with the travel, and again, they got, you know, they finished strong, and you know, I would like to recognize our seniors and PGs that are leaving. They were, you know, they were a huge part of our team. Luckily, again, most of our team is coming back, and you know, I think again, they understand really well what it takes to play this level and what they have to do to be even more successful next year. For our coaches award, this kid's second year here. Last year, obviously, we didn't get to play, but he learned from some of the big guys last year what it really takes to play. He was in the weight room, according to Nan, about 3 times a day last spring. He got bigger, stronger. This year, every time he was on the ice, it was exciting. Other coaches, other teammate, opposing players were commenting every time he touched the puck. He had some spectacular goals, spectacular assists. Again, a player that he noticed. He knows what he needs to work on away from the puck. He knows what he needs to work on to get better and to really This kid is going to come back for his PG year here at Kents Hill, and he has a chance to really be a dominant player in the all of NEPSAC. So the Coaches Award goes to David Halfogo. For the most improved player, for the most improved player, we let the team vote. As I'm a big believer, obviously, that if you recognize by our peers, by our teammates, especially in the game of hockey, which is the ultimate team sport, it's a huge recognition. And it really came down to two guys that ran away with the vote. One is about 5'4", one is about 6'4". But they're both young. They're both going to be here for a couple more years. And so there were some of the youngest players on our team, so it bodes well for our future. So the runner-up, and I only mentioning an honorable mention because he was close second, is Matt Ionta. And the most improved player, again, voted by his teammates, is a kid that just did everything right this year. Everything we asked him to do, he did. I think in the first game we played against Bridgeton, which is a bunch of PGs, 19 years old, I think they were telling this kid that the Mites game is already started at a different rink. But you ask him to stand up to guys, you ask him to take the hit on the half wall, get the puck out of the zone. You ask him that nobody cuts him in on the middle, and he would do it. And I'm just so proud of this kid. He came here as a young kid, probably a fourth-line kid. Went from the fourth line to the third line to the second line, and I couldn't be more proud of this kid. Tanner Cole. And the last, the most valuable player, there's no honorable mention. This was a runaway vote. Sorry. This guy came here as a PG, and we're gonna miss him. He's a leader. He's our captain. He did everything right on the ice, off the ice, in the classroom. He's not the biggest guy. I think everybody knows who it is. He doesn't speak much, but when he does, everybody listens. He's a guy that, again, if he could be a super PG, we would bring him back. Outside of all that, he was also our goal-scoring leader. He scored the biggest goals in games, and he had a hat trick in a game. He did it all. And I told the guys, he's not the fastest kid. He doesn't have the best shot. He's not the best stick handler. He's not none of those things. It's almost like I'm putting him down every time. But at the end, he just gets everything done. He gets it done the right way. And I hope the rest of the guys watch this kid, learn from him, and understand what it takes to really play. He was also involved in the community. I'll tell you a quick story. Guys are in the fall on the ice just messing around, and I bring a recruit down to the Alphon. So I'm standing there with parents and the recruit, and this kid gets off the ice and starts walking towards us. I thought he was just going to the locker room to, change a stick or something, and he stops and he says, "Hey, coach," introduced himself, spent 5-10 minutes with the family, with the recruit, made sure, and then said, "I'm going to go back on the ice." And I'm thinking, this guy just came here to, it's like being recruited by a high-level D1 program, and the captain, the best kid, just gets off the ice and introduces himself and talks to them. And before he went on the ice, he said, "By the way, take my number and call me anytime." He left, he went back on the ice, and I told the parents, I'm like, it's not rehearsed. I didn't tell him to do that. He just did it, and that's, he puts the team first every time, and yet he is our leading scorer, he's our captain, he's our everything, and that's Kevin McElhaney.
I just wanted to say a few words. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to coach this year's team, all the players. For me, kind of jumping into the seat, into a sport that I love. You know, there's a lot of time, as Nan mentioned, a lot of time outside of just being on the ice. But I really want to just say thank you. And it was a pleasure for me to coach this year's team. You know, I'll keep it short. But again, we had the ups and downs, but the team really sort of stuck together. Not sort of, they stuck together through the ups and downs. And I think they learned a lot. We learned a lot as coaches. And so I just want to say thank you and really grateful for the opportunity and for this season. So thank you.
Coach Arsenault and Coach McLaughlin, come on up. Girls varsity ice hockey.
I would like to take. Just pull that out. Or we can move. All right. I would like to take this opportunity to briefly thank the people who have supported our program throughout the season. Thank you to all the fall coaches who prepared our girls to get in shape for the rigors of our season. Thank you. I would also particularly like to thank Sage for accommodating us, Paul for his and his transportation team, Jared for keeping the Alpha on clean and always believing in us, Mr. Corey and Mr. Heron for dealing with our changing schedules and injuries, Ms. Ambrose for all of her support, P. Kane for his dedication and his travel to so many games, Howell for the broadcasting capabilities and animation, Ms. Tracy and Ms. Nanoff for their tireless hours working with their girls in college counseling. Thank you to our manager, Maisha. She was a great support this season. To our 8 seniors and postgraduates, Lauren, Ella, Lorianne, Maddie, Naomi, Emma Yaskova, Emma Knowles, and Emma Gardner, we will wish you all the best next year. To our entire team, thank you for your commitment this season. We spent a lot of time on the road, on the ice, and in the weight room. We threw a lot at you, and you continued to show up and make the most out of each opportunity. Above all others, I would like to share my deepest gratitude for Ms. McLaughlin. She is what made this season run so smoothly. She'd pick up the buses, book hotels, organize meals, and support our players through the college process, help me with practice plans, and help run our systems. Ms. McLaughlin does it all, and always with a smile on her face. I can't thank her enough for her support and her friendship throughout this season. and she will present the awards.
I'm going to use the stool too. The Most Improved Player Award goes to a player that we moved from defense to offense this year. With this switch, this player scored her first Husky goal and got many assists throughout our season. This player was one of the best at breaking the puck out of our defensive zone and getting us into the offensive zone. This year's Most Improved Player, as voted by our teammates, goes to Abby Graham. The Most Valuable Player goes to a new member of our squad this season. She kept us in countless games and gave us the edge we needed and the opportunity to win some key games against strong opponents. This year's Most Valuable Player goes to Emma Gardner. The Coaches Award goes to a 3-year player who has really stepped up to lead our team this season. This player is the go-to tour guide for prospective players, and we can always count on her to pump up the squad. This year's Coaches Award goes to Maddie Sheffield. Who's not here? Who is not here? Thank you.
If Coach Jenkins could come up, we're going to do girls varsity basketball.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to start off with some thank yous as well, and first and foremost, a huge debt of gratitude to Coach Ambrose for all of her time and effort and commitment to our team. She sees the small details that I sometimes miss, and those small details make a big difference. She brings energy, she brings enthusiasm, and I can't say enough about how much she has brought to our program. She's a basketball lifer and just has been invaluable to me, so thank you, man. I'd like to thank Mr. Corey for all of the scheduling and keeping everything going and communicating so well with us. For Mr. Heron, a huge thanks for all of his work on behalf of our team. We certainly had a few injuries along the way, and his great lines of communication as well. Alphon crew, Jenna and Noel, thank you so much for all of your help at the table and running the clock for us. For Jared, if you're out there watching, he is a huge support for all of our teams. Thank you, Jared. I'd like to thank the fans that came and supported us, especially for those who made the trek to the Augusta Civic Center, and for those who took them and transported them. That was an amazing effort on our behalf. Thank you for coming out and giving us that boost when we needed it. Coach McDonald, thank you for organizing your JV boys and helping us prep for the NYA playoff game. That was a huge help. Thank you to all those guys that contributed to that. And a huge thanks to Lena Ondondo and Sam Kine, who are our managers. What a cheerful, wonderful pair of girls who came to every game and practiced and ran the clock and did film and did the book for us. And you guys are a huge part of what we were able to accomplish. Thank you so much. I'd also like to thank our captains, Alana, Naomi, and Rose, for your leadership and oversight of our group. And I have to say goodbye. We have to say goodbye to our seniors. Shay, Marta, Alana, Regina, we'll see. But thank you so much for all of your positive contributions and the hard work on behalf of our team, and in some cases, certainly in Alana's case, for 4 years. Thank you so very much. We will miss you. This season, our team took another big leap after playing only one game last season. And yeah, we were the lucky team that got to play a game last winter. We were able to play 2 preseason games, 13 regular season games, 1 postseason scrimmage, and 2 postseason playoff games. We went 10-5 in the regular and postseason combined, and we proved to be a tough team to contend with. With so many players that are returning for next season, I think we're poised to take another step and win some games at Augusta. I'm really proud of you all. We had a mix of new and returning players, and there were certainly moments where you could tell that we hadn't played together long enough, but there were also some excellent segments of games where we really clicked. And I think we played some high-intensity basketball with skill and precision. For those returning, I hope that you remember both the highs and the lows of our season and use them as motivation to get better. We will only come back stronger if each of you puts in the time to improve between now and next November. On to our awards. I'll lead it off with the most improved player. And the MIP goes to a young woman who had previously only played basketball in middle school, but thought she'd give it a try this year. And we're certainly glad that she did. She brought such a positive attitude to our team. She showed senior leadership. She competed really hard every day in practice. And when she got the chance to play in games, she gave it her all. She made a significant improvement in her understanding and knowledge and awareness on the court. And by the end of the season, she was pump faking and driving to the basket, making jumpers where she wouldn't even think of shooting them before, and flying around on defense. I wish that we had had more than one season with her, but this was a season to remember for sure. So a big congratulations to our MIP as voted by her teammates, Shay Cheney.
I get the honor, this is really tall. RJ's really a tall dude. I get the honor of presenting our Coaches Award for the girls basketball team. This award goes to a young woman who did not miss one rep in any drills throughout the entire season, was at every practice, Saturday practices, fall travel team games, you name it, she was there in the weight room after practice, carried around her jump rope everywhere she went. I think she might be a little bit addicted to jumping rope, but that's not a bad thing. She averaged 10 points and 8 rebounds a game for our team in what was one of our key seasons in the history of the girls program here, especially in the recent past. She really had a big part over her years so far at Kents Hill in elevating our program to great levels. A true joy to coach, never was too high. Sometimes that challenged me, and was never too low, and remained a constant for our team, was a captain in her junior year, and led us by example. Her work ethic in practice and her work ethic in games was relentless, and really an honor to coach her. Our Coaches Award this year goes to Rose Jenkins.
On to our MVP, most valuable player. And MVPs can be given to players for different reasons. Stats and records and notable plays that attract a lot of eyeballs, and various other reasons can certainly be the impetus, and for sure they can be important for naming an MVP. But MVPs can also be given for quiet leadership, for consistently high quality effort, and putting team above self. They can be given for defensive tenacity and a never quit attitude. They can be given to players who play through pain and injury every single day. They can be given to players who just a few short years ago were earning MIPs after playing their first season of organized basketball. And now they've risen up to become a big impact on a playoff team. I certainly see why this player was recognized by her peers. She is humble and quiet, but intense and focused. Dedicated and hardworking, she gives her complete attention to the coaches when they speak. She loves to play and values every opportunity to do so. And that is why our MVP, as voted by her teammates, is Naomi McGadney. We have two more awards to give out, recognition for a couple of our players. Our team is one of 15 in the Mountain Valley Conference, and at the end of each season, the coaches award players recognition for their efforts. This year, Kents Hill has 2 players who received honorable mention for their exploits this season. Our leading scorer at 15 points per game and one of the top centers in the league, Logan McDonald. And our leading rebounder and one of the best point guards in our league, Rose Jenkins. Thank you all very much. I also have the honor of introducing the Female Winter Sportsmanship Award winner. Sportsmanship is often thought of as talking about someone who is a good sport, win or lose, that they act with class, they don't begrudge their opponents, they play the right way, etc. And for sure, this winter's Female Sportsmanship Award winner fits that description. But when I think about sportsmanship, I also think it requires athletes to play their game hard. I think it demands that they get the most out of their abilities, that they be a star in their role, whatever that role demands them to be. Because without the competitive nature of an athlete, sport becomes more of a pastime or exhibition. For someone to be a good sport, they must be a good competitor. Our recipient is just that and more. She's managed to make our sport, which is, by the way, not her favorite sport, into one that she excels at anyway, because she knows her role and she performs it to the best of her ability. She relishes the opportunity to compete. When we missed games last year due to COVID, I think maybe she was one of the players who was the most down about it because she just wanted to box somebody out. She wanted to rebound and play defense, to guard with intensity and to play with heart. She wanted to have the opportunity to give her thoughts on what was going out on the floor. And believe me, she has a lot of thoughts. Oh, right, Coach? A lot of thoughts. But I loved it every time she raised her hand because it showed us that she cared about the game, about the assignment, the details. She wanted an edge, and she wanted to know that she could share that edge with her teammates. And when the game was over, she wanted to know that she had given it her all and that her teammates had too. And if she won, she was happy. And if we lost, she was bummed. And in both cases, she was a good sport. Most of all, after it was over, she wanted to know that she had left a piece of herself out on the floor. For those of you that were at the Augusta Civic Center last Tuesday, and if you watched the second half of our game, you saw Phoebe Simpson leave a piece of herself on the floor. She battled, she fought, and she actually turned the game around for us. Her joy in competition that night was a reflection of her whole season. It summed up exactly what she's all about. And now it is my joy to award the Winter Female Sportsmanship Award for 2022 to our fun but fierce Phoebe Simpson.
I'm going to kind of mimic Coach May here and share just a few things about girls basketball. It was a true joy to coach this team this year. We had plenty of challenges, and we sometimes probably looked around the gym. They got stuck with me while Coach Jenkins was in quarantine for a week. Boy, that wasn't what they bargained for. But they suffered through it. We had a little bit of fun. But I can't say how much fun I had coaching these girls and what a joy it was at the Civic Center to see so many of you take the time and the adults to make it an important part of this Kent Hills community to be there and to cheer these girls on. I want to thank everybody personally who was there, who watched at home, and I want to thank the girls. It was a blast. I had a great time. Apparently, we're going to hijack the whole show.
I feel really bad. I got a shout out to the Howl guys, too. I'm sorry I left you guys out. You guys were amazing. We had so many, as you said, so many different parents of other teams chat us up about you guys. I think you could probably get a gig at some other schools if you want it, but thank you so much for everything.
We're going to sign them to a contract. Okay, now if Coach Shabbat and Coach Kreitz can come on up for boys JV ice hockey.
So this year's boys JV ice hockey team, it was truly a wonderful experience, and I think experience is a really important word there. These guys were just a lot of fun, and what's great is I look out and I see this just endearing group of guys, and I have one distinct memory, both hockey and maybe not so hockey related for each guy, which is just wonderful. But things that just will always stick with me, you know, we had guys like, you know, Matthew Welton, who at the end of every practice would practice distinctly his goal celebration. And he got that chance, right? And he went for it, kind of wavered a little bit, but made it happen. It was just glorious. We had guys like Will, who came in midway through the year, strapped on the goalie pads and was really, really pivotal for us in the second half of our season. We had guys, you know, like Evan and Norris and Z-Wood and Aiden and Benny and all these guys just giving it their all every practice, every game. And then we had other guys who've been with me for a long time. You know, guys who I've known for years. And getting to blend all of this together was truly a lot of fun. Firstly, I want to make sure I thank my assistant coach, Coach Kreitz, for all of her support in so many ways, keeping practice fun, keeping me in check when I needed it, and being really supportive of our goalies for sure. Even putting the pads on a couple times and helping us out. I really appreciate it. So this team in particular, like I said, I've got so many great memories of all these guys. Is really a team that means a lot. I've been coaching the JV hockey team for 10 years, and I think what I appreciate the most, and I've said this so many times to so many people, is that these guys just want to play hockey. They want to learn, and they just want games. Like, they don't care who we play against. Let's just get on the ice and go. Even Exeter put up 15 goals on us. These guys still cheered in the locker room because I booked more games. I mean, it was just so exciting, and I'd never had that experience before, and so for me, it was just truly a wonderful experience. As I said, we had a huge range of abilities and experiences, goals and desires, and yet we always found ways to approach our practices and games with humor and engagement and fun. We start practice every day by blowing the whistle. I hold the stick up, and everyone sprints at me, and then we have to stop doing that because someone fell and cleaned everybody out. So, yeah, I'm like, easy guys and whatever, you know. But the boys worked. They worked shift by shift. They won puck battles. They controlled what they could control, and they supported each other along the way. Ultimately, I looked forward every day to getting onto the ice with these guys, and I want to thank them truly and sincerely for their positive outlook, their good work ethic, and their wonderful approach to the game. We had so many first goals, first assists, first saves. The entire season, again, was a wonderful compendium of just the endearing small and large victories for these group of players. I want to make sure to acknowledge our seniors. We had Connor and Matthew and Chase for their year to couple years of work with our team, and then having 3 4-year seniors on the JV team is, I think, a really unique experience for me. We had Kunso and Alan and Jack and I want to thank them for their commitment, Just for reference, I went back and I did the math that those 3 guys combined, even with last year not having a game, combined played in 135 JV games, which I think is just an astounding sort of measure of commitment. So the JV team has 2 awards to give out for today, and the first one I want to give out is the Coaches Award. This year's Coaches Award, as nominated by the coaches, it goes to the primary leader of our group. And this player has served many roles on this team and over his 4 years with the team, but perhaps none was more important than this year, as he was a very important offensive catalyst for our team. This player started every game, led the team with tact and candor and enthusiasm and humor. He's unanimously respected by his teammates, and he's left an indelible mark on his coaches. His leadership is going to be very difficult to replace, but we've been very fortunate again to have these 4 years with this great young man. And this year's Coaches Award goes to Jack Bonifant. And then the other award that we get to give out is the Most Improved. And there were so many players to whom this award can go. As I said, everybody showed up every day to make strides in their game. And not just in terms of just skills, but it was skating, it was awareness, it was engagement. So many players asked great questions. They sought feedback. They maintained a growth mindset. And again, it was, so we turned to the players to nominate who they felt was the most improved. Again, there were so many people, but this player in particular never lost sight of his strong and often intense, if not occasionally over the top in the nicest way possible, enthusiasm for hockey. He was always looking for feedback, and he pined for any additional time on the ice he could possibly get. Early in the season, this particular player grew frustrated occasionally during drills. That slow process of getting better, but in spite of a series of injuries, which included a concussion during practice, a couple big hits during games, this player emerged as a really important member of our team who, according to my players and unbeknownst to me, became a bit of a viral sensation in the hockey world. I'll never forget in the handshake line against Hebron, 2 of their players were like, "Hey, can we take a picture with so I was like, "What do you mean?" And their coach was like, "What do you mean?" And like, "Didn't you see the video?" I'm like, "I was there for that." And so as his coach, I thoroughly enjoyed this player's unwavering and wholly dedicated approach. And so this year's Most Improved Player, as voted by his teammates, is Lucas Raymond Dubbers.
I do have to echo Coach Shabbat's statement about Lucas. I don't think there is a student in the time that I've been at Kent Hill that's logged more hours on the ice. There are nights where I'm like, "No, really, Lucas, we've got to close the building. You need to take your skates off and can I get the locker room open? If we all had a nickel for every time Lucas asked us, "Is the ice open? Is there a rental tonight?" we would be pretty wealthy. Before we pass it off to our friends across the street at the ski lodge and Mr. Reynolds and Coach Carlucci for Alpine, I do want to thank someone that I missed at the beginning. And I know I'm going to draw everybody's attention. He's in the back of the room. He's a pretty unassuming guy. And he worked his tail off for us in the Alphon this year. Jared Moore, could you stand up? Jared, I think when we did the math earlier in the winter, it was 16 locker rooms that needed to be cleaned on a regular basis between our teams and rentals and visiting teams. And what you did for us was great. All of you who've ever lost AirPods in the Alphon that were found, Jared found them and brought them to me. Most anything that's been recovered in the Alphons, because Jared found it while he was cleaning your space or a space, and he'd come walking in. Literally, I felt like I had a pawn shop on my conference table. I had AirPods, I had gold jewelry, I had silver jewelry. Somebody just came in the other day and claimed 6 different silver rings, right? So Jared, thankfully, is here to keep an eye on all of you and to make sure your things make it to their proper owner safely, as well as keeping our building super clean through a really challenging winter with salt and sand and snow. So Jared, I just want to make sure you know how much we appreciate you and all that you do for us. I want to pass it off now to Mr. Reynolds and to Coach Carlucci. And I want to jump on the bandwagon here and congratulate them on a phenomenal Alpine season. And it was really great to see the ski hill hosting races again. I know we did one last year, but to have so many kids at the hill, so many different people, so many different faces on our campus, really enjoying that space was tremendous. And a really big credit to Josh and Carlucci and Mr. McGlashing and all the guys who work so hard on the hill. So thank you guys for everything you do.
So the time is 2:42, so far be it for me to be the last guy and be forever. So this is like the Gong Show. If it hits 3 o'clock and we're not out of here, somebody grab the hook.
Grab the hook, yeah.
All right, first of all, thank yous. To this man, Andrew Carlucci, my right-hand guy. For your ability behind the wheel of the bus, because you're awesome. For your ability to bring calm to the kids when they are pumped up and psyched out and overpsyched at the top of the hill. He spends a lot of time with the kids when I kind of ignore them on race day because I don't want to add stress to their lives, right? And he's great at decreasing the stress, keeping the mood light, and his pep talks, which I learn about at the top of the hill, make no sense to me, but it works for the kids, so it's a great deal. So thank you, Andrew. Also want to thank Patrick Kane, for, without whom we could not run the ski hill. Patrick is that guy who's everywhere, and he spends a lot of time helping me on the hill with all of the kids, particularly the rec skiers and with Danny's group. And again, thank you so much to Danny McGlashing for all the things you do above and beyond that you need to do in your role. I also want to thank Mark Bartholomew for installing webcams down at the hill, which are very cool. And then the true unsung heroes, Josh Barrick, who has a cast in his arm because of an accident we had recently, but we wouldn't be here without Josh's work, making snow, behind-the-scenes stuff, wearing his top hat at the bottom of the hill, and then being the friendly guy in the rope tow. And also for Stuart Cole from the class of 2014. For those of you who've been around long enough, Stu is the man. He's awesome. He helped me a ton this year. Couldn't have done it without him. And he's on his way right now to Vail to spend the next month skiing. So good for Stu. All right, moving on. Skiing is the ultimate, in my view, individual sport, okay? It is just you against the clock. To win, you have to go as fast as you can, and if you crash, you lose. That's it. There's no in between. It's stressful. And our kids rise to the occasion so much doing this. It's also a team sport here at Kents Hill, so that makes it hard. You have to ski as a team to be competitive and to win. In my 8 years of being part of this program, I've never had the depth of talent in this group and their ability to ski as a team. We've had better skiers as individuals, probably all along, but we've never had a team like this, never bigger, but the depth is amazing, and it's allowed us to achieve something pretty substantial. And this year, all of our teams, so just to explain it really quick, we all race together as one team, but in 4 separate classes, boys and girls varsity, boys and girls JV. This year we took home the championship in Maysad for all of those classes. So congratulations for that. The 2 trophies over the end came back to us from Gould Academy because we did not compete in the Maysad championship last year, so they came home where they belong. And those trophies were won by the 5 varsity boys and 5 varsity girls because that's all we can ski in the varsity class. So congratulations to those groups and that team. For the boys varsity, that's Captain Jackson Melendi, Finn Sheridan Crane, Scotty Turney, Eli Reynolds, and Matt Feinberg. For boys. And on the girls' side, Captain Naima O'Rourke, Rosalie Klinger, Josie Hannon, Anna Fontpaus, and Dorothy Kuhn. Okay, so if you, in that Maysad race, that championship race, if you get to one of the top 10, you are voted or you are elected to all Maysad. I have certificates for you, but I'm not going to ask you guys to come up. I'm just going to mention your name because you need the recognition, and we'll deal with the certificates after we get done with this portion because I don't want to go forever. And you'll know why in a minute, because for the girls' side, 7 of those top 10s all came from Kents Hill School. Naima O'Rourke, Rosalie Klinger, Dorothy Kuhn, Josie Hannon, Anna Fonpoos, Johanna Spori, and Heidi Lofts. In 5 of those, so for the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, they got 10th or better in both races. Okay, so you can get 10th or better in slalom or GS, but most of our kids did that in both races, which is even harder because that's 2 races, 2 runs per race, so you got to stand up 4 times, win, and not crash. Okay, on the boys' side, 6 of the top 10 came from Kents Hill. Finn Sheridan Crane, Jackson Melendi, Scotty Turney, Eli Reynolds, Matt Feigenberg, and Cyrus Merritt. New England Prep School Athletic Conference Championships are 15 teams throughout all New England. We're in Class B. We could have won that this year. We didn't, and that's ski racing. As I mentioned in the beginning, you've got to go fast, and if you crash, that's it. But there's a special award. If you get a top 15 in any of those races, you are voted all NEPSAC. And so congratulations to 3 of our skiers who accomplished that feat. The first one, for his 7th place, finish in slalom, Finn Sheridan Crane. For 8th place in slalom, good job, Finn, beating our captain, Jackson Melendi. And we had one girl who made all NEPSAC, and she skied into 15th place in both disciplines, giant slalom and slalom, and that's our senior captain, Naima O'Rourke. What? No. They didn't know that either. All right, moving on to the individual awards. Right. For girls, let's start with most improved. So this girl raced her way onto the varsity team towards the end of the season. She got faster and faster at every race and ended up being a critical cog, I would say, in the girls' varsity team winning the MESAD championship this year. The MIP, Most Improved Girl, goes to Dorothy Kuhn. The Coaches Award. Consistency is really hard in ski racing. It's a trend, right? I've been talking about this. This girl never falters. Truly, never seen it happen, which never happens till now, and can always be counted on to finish near the top with a smile and a fantastic attitude. She's quiet, but she's very fierce. She has an inner fire that's amazing. Can always rely on her. I've never seen her fall. I don't think it ever happened in training. Anyway, we're going to miss her. The Coaches Award goes to Rosalie Klinger. Girls' most valuable player, fastest skier, I don't know what you want to call it. But it's pretty definitive in ski racing. It's a time thing. You stand up, you ski faster than the rest of the people, and that's how we judge it. It's pretty harsh, but it's clear. So for leading from the front, always, consistently, our fastest girl, and for being the MESAD Slalom Champion, which means she got first place, the gold in the slalom at MESAD Championship. The MVP goes to someone who I've had the pleasure of coaching since she was in 6th grade, Naima O'Rourke. Don't look at me, Naima. We're going to miss her. Okay, moving on to the boys. We won't miss so much. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. The most improved. So, yeah, we'll see in a minute. This boy is one of 2 athletes on the team, plus a coach, who has successfully pulled off a 360 off the snowboard jump. Now, we're not supposed to do that because we ski race, but we have a coach who likes to hang out and do 360s, and Jackson likes to do it. And this kid, I watched him on one day, just decided to learn. So Not for that reason, but I think that's an important anecdote just because of his passion for all things skiing. When he's not training with us, he can be found working on the tricks in the park. But on the hill, he made big strides towards the end of the season particularly, culminating in a top 10 finish at that MESAD championship. The MIP goes to Cyrus Moret. The Coach's Award. This boy is always early to practice. He always stays after. He looks more like a man than a boy. He's constantly looking to improve. He also came with us to the NEPSAC championship race, not as a racer, but as a helper because we were hosting that race and we needed some people to help. He put something like 4 miles on his skis. Jack, you can clarify if I'm wrong with that, but I think it was 4 miles doing something that's important, which is, we call it slipping, but someone goes down the course and makes sure it's safe for the next people to go. So he just made constant laps all day long, literally for probably 7 hours on his skis. How many? Okay, see, he's got the metric down. Anyway, the Coach's Award for the boys goes to Jack Power. The most, what am I? Yeah, not most improved, we'll go back this way. MVP. Last but not least, the MVP for boys. So this boy always finds a way to finish a race. He battles it hard, is often our fastest skier, particularly when the pressure is on, when it's really hard to ski fast and not crash. He shows up big time for the big races, and for that, the MVP goes to Finn Sheridan Crane. Nan, do you want to wrap it up? Okay, before you wrap it up, just for the ski team, make sure you guys stay when everybody else leaves because I have to hand out all those individual awards and we're going to take some pictures. Thank you very much.
I see Becca slipping out the door. I'm going to ask her to hold on a second because as we went through the day, I kept looking at some of our coaches and thinking about the sacrifices that they made. And I remember early in the ski season being over on the ski hill for the little bit that I can actually sneak over there. And you guys as student athletes may not be aware of the time and energy that the spouses and the partners of our coaches put in, or the time and energy that they put in possibly at home alone while your coach is traveling all up and down the main turnpike. So on behalf of the student athletes and the athletic department, I want to thank all the partners out there who made this winter successful by keeping their partners sane when they got home from games. So thank you for all of your help throughout the year to all of our coaches' partners. All right, before you fully check out on me, I need you to hear a couple of things. In the fall, we talked about get to and got to. And I got to watch you guys play all winter, and it was really, really special. And each of you get to be student athletes at Kents Hill, and you get to, tomorrow afternoon, be on spring break. But my challenge is, remember that you get to come back and be a spring sport athlete. And I know so many of you hang your hat and your identity on our winter sports, which is tremendous, and your passion is there. We have one more season where the coaches have invested a ton of time already. They've worked really hard on their schedules, and they're hoping to capitalize on the energy, the enthusiasm, and the successes that you guys experienced this winter going into our spring season. 2 years ago, we had this awards assembly, and little did we know that we wouldn't see each other again, and some folks that were in this crowd we didn't get to see again at all because they graduated online. And I was reminded by one of my advisees how stinky that was. He had a sibling who graduated on a computer screen. And I'm elated that we've got things in our world, in some parts of our world, in a place where we're going to be able to come back, and we will be back here at the end of March, and we will get to do this all over again, and we will get to do this together. So enjoy your spring break, be super, super safe, make great decisions, and start to get ready to carry this success over into our spring athletic seasons. Great job, everybody. Don't forget.